Passengers will stand by to board. Welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. For your safety, please remain seated at all times, keeping hands, arms, feet inside of the train. Please supervise your children and keep them away from the train opening. Thank you. Our next stop will be New Orleans Square Station. For your country, Adventureland, Frontierland, and New Orleans Square.
Welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. We're embarking on a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom. We'll be stopping at New Orleans Square, Mickey's Toontown, and Tomorrowland. We'll also visit the Grand Canyon and make a trip back in time to the primeval world and the age of the dinosaurs before returning to Main Street Station. As we begin our journey, remember that for a safe trip, you need to stay seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please watch your children.
Bienvenidos a bordo del Disneyland Railroad. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
Our first stop is New Orleans Square Station. But to get there, we need to pass through the wilds of Adventureland. It may seem peaceful through here, but trust me, it's a real jungle out there. Literally. So be on the lookout. You just never know what might be lurking along the rails. Just ahead is the New Orleans Square Station. This station also serves Frontierland. If you'll be leaving us here, please remain seated until the train comes to a complete stop. And watch your step as you're getting off. For those of you continuing on with us, we'll be resuming our trip in just a moment. This is New Orleans Square Station. New Orleans Square.
Now arriving at New Orleans Square Station. Please remain seated until the train is fully stopped. This is your destination. For your country, Adventureland, Frontierland, and New Orleans Square. Please remain seated until we're fully stopped at the station. Thank you. Orange Pico, the Oolong. Okay, we're actually just going to be making steam. We'll be underway in just a moment, folks. Please remain seated. Thank you.
Feeling the fast passes are going to go up late today. As soon as we get it, it's probably going to be 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. No,
Put a gun. They're putting water. Put it to the gun and do a cooking.
they're not going to let you come in unless you ask them. Maybe they'll be nice enough, but
That's okay. We'll go around there, or I'll get off. You can just stay on. And I'll
No.
get back in line.
I'll get off. I want a rail pen. I haven't rail penned in a long time.
Okay.
So I've only ridden it like what, once, and then we go do rides. But I haven't.
All aboard!
You guys are much younger than.
Welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. For your safety, please remain seated at all times, keeping hands, arms, feet, and legs inside of the train. Please supervise your children and keep them away from the train opening. Thank you. Our next stop will be Mickey's Toontown Depot for Toontown and Fantasyland.
To those just joining us, welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. To ensure a safe ride, stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please watch your kids.
Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
We're now entering Splash Mountain, rumored to be the location of the one and only Laughing Place. If you look real hard, you just might find it. It's where the critters are celebrating a zippity-doo-dah day. Speaking of critters, this place we're passing over is home to a whole bunch of them. Here in Critter Country, you can join Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Brer Rabbit, and Brer Bear on their fun-filled adventures. As we steam past Hungry Bear Restaurant, the last outpost in these parts, we're now joining up with the Rivers of America and entering the frontier as it looked more than a century and a half ago. This is my favorite part of the journey. Around every bend, there's natural beauty as far as the eye can see. There is the revered Indian shaman sharing his stories with those in the great river valley below. People like you have been riding these rails since the 1800s, traveling through nature's wonderland in a matter of days, rather than the months it used to take by mule or stagecoach. Steam power not only fueled these iron horses, but the dreams of a whole new generation as it moved west into this great frontier. Of course, some of those dreams and the stories that went with them were pretty darn wild and downright unbelievable. Like on Big
Children
Thunder
should
Mountain,
remain seated
where I
at all
hear
times.
the
I
mysterious
have the
spirits
child
that
sitting
grabbed
down,
hold
please.
of those mining dreams and turned them into the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Is that real? Like, there's a big lizard. It's not real. It's real.
This tunnel signals our transition from the frontier to another kind of fear, the ones you'll find on Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Our next stop is Toontown Depot, official train station for Mickey's Toontown, the cartoon home where Mickey, Minnie, and all their friends live. Toontown Depot is also the gateway to Fantasyland, where you'll find many of your favorite Disney animated characters and stories. If you're leaving us here, please wait until the train comes to a full stop. Remember your personal belongings, then step carefully from the train. Have fun, and say hi to Mickey and Minnie for me. Those of you continuing on with us, we'll be resuming our trip in just a moment. This is Toontown Depot, Mickey's
Now
Toontown.
arriving at Toontown Depot. Please remain seated until the train is fully stopped. This is your destination for Toontown in Fantasyland. Please remain seated until we're fully stopped at the station. Thank you. Over the Disneyland Railroad. For your safety, please remain seated at all times, keeping hands, arms, feet, and legs inside of the train. Please supervise your children and keep them away from the train opening. Thank you. Our next stop will be Tomorrowland Station.
Surprised he didn't
Tomorrowland,
grab
your
a
gateway
staple
to the
gun and
future.
just try to do it himself.
And by then he had a concussion.
No. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Then the next day they're leaving coming home. And he's falling asleep and it's like the center guardrail and the car behind him falls.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Disneyland Railroad. For a safe ride, remember to stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please watch your kids.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Y bienvenidos a bordo. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
As we leave Toontown Depot, we get a real nice view of the happiest land of them all, Fantasyland. You can see people stepping onto It's a Small World just below us. And, off in the distance, majestic Matterhorn Mountain. We're now steaming forward into the future to a land inspired by visions of tomorrow, both practical and imagined. Here you'll find rocket ships and star speeders, submarines and astroblasters, and, if you look overhead, maybe a glimpse of a Mark 7 monorail. This is the latest version of the first daily operating monorail system in the entire Western Hemisphere, gliding above Disneyland since 1959. Below the monorail, and us, are the fun-filled roadways of the Autopia. Drivers of all ages can get behind the wheel of these cars. No experience or license required. If you're into soaring spaceships or doing battle with evil empires and emperors, Tomorrowland is definitely the place for you. Speaking of which, we're pulling into Tomorrowland Station right now. If you're leaving us here, just stay seated until we come to a full stop. Gather your belongings, including lightsabers and astroblasters, and step carefully from the train. Thanks, and have fun in the future. For the rest of you, just sit tight. We'll be on our way again in just a minute.
Now arriving at Tomorrowland Station. Please remain seated until the train is fully stopped. As you leave this station to the right, you'll find the Autopia, the monorail, and the submarine. As you leave this station to the left, you're going to find adventures that are out of this world. Please remain seated until we're fully stopped. Thank you.
It looks like it fits criteria.
The Disneyland Railroad. For your safety, please remain seated at all times, keeping hands, arms, feet, and legs inside of the train. Please supervise your children and keep them away from the train opening. Thank you. Our next stop will be Main Street Station, with a detour to the south rim of the Grand Canyon and the primeval world. As we enter the tunnel up ahead, please no flash photography, no video lighting, and please turn off any lighted toys. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna bring my hand.
To those who have just come aboard, welcome. The next leg of our journey will take us from the fantastic world of the future to the breathtaking beauty of nature's own design, the Grand Canyon. For your safety, stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. Watch your children and no flash photography.
Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Por favor, no tome fotografías con flash.
Please make sure all children are sitting down on their bottom foot, on their bottom.
Make sure all children are inside the train as well, not hanging off the edge or hanging onto the railing. All children need to be seated. Thank you.
That was the Grand Canyon as we know it today. But it wasn't always this way. Now, let's travel back in time, way back in time, to the fantastic past of the primeval world, land of the dinosaurs. We're now returning to our own time and to Main Street Station, gateway to Disneyland. If you're leaving us here, stay in your seat until we come to a full stop. Remember to gather all your personal belongings and step carefully from the train. I'd especially like to thank those of you who've been with me for the Grand Circle Tour of Disneyland. We hope you enjoyed your travels with us and that you'll come back to ride with us again real soon. For those of you staying with us, we'll be on our way again in just a few minutes. This is Main Street Station, Main Street, USA.
Now arriving at Main Street Station, please remain seated when the train is fully stopped. The station only has stairs in the program, so please leave strollers or wheelchairs folded until you reach the bottom of the stairs. Thank you.
Of the Disneyland Railroad, please remain seated, keeping all hands, arms, feet, legs inside the train. Parents, make sure to supervise small children as well as keep them away from any train opening. Our next scheduled stop is New Orleans Square.
Welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. We're embarking on a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom. We'll be stopping at New Orleans Square, Mickey's Toontown, and Tomorrowland. We'll also visit the Grand Canyon and make a trip back in time to the primeval world and the age of the dinosaurs before returning to Main Street Station. As we begin our journey, remember that for a safe trip, you need to stay seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please watch your children.
Bienvenidos a bordo del Disneyland Railroad. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
Our first stop is New Orleans Square Station. But to get there, we need to pass through the wilds of Adventureland. It may seem peaceful through here, but trust me, it's a real jungle out there. Literally. So be on the lookout. You just never know what might be lurking along the rails. Just ahead is New Orleans Square Station. This station also serves Frontierland and Critter Country. If you'll be leaving us here, please remain seated until the train comes to a complete stop. Then watch your step as you're getting on.
We are pulling into New Orleans Square Station. Your Southwest last stop is immediately to the Winnie the Pooh, Big Silver Mountain Railroad, Indiana Jones Adventure of the World Famous Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Continental Holiday. As always, stay fully seated until the train has made a full and complete stop in the station. And you see a conductor steps up the train onto the platform. Fully seated, keeping all hands, arms, feet, legs inside the train. Parents, make sure to supervise small children and keep them away from any train opening. Our next scheduled stop is Mickey's Toontown.
Please watch your kids.
Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
As it looked more than a century and a half ago. This is my favorite part of the journey. Around every bend, there's natural beauty of shaman, sharing his stories with those in the Great River Valley below. People like you have been riding these rails since the 1800s, traveling through nature's wonderland in a matter of days, rather than the months it used to take by mule or stagecoach. Steam power not only fueled these iron horses, but the dreams of
We are steaming our way into Toontown Depot. This is your gateway to Fantasyland. The ride from the Skyline Golf Club. It's a Flower Holiday. Alice in Wonderland. And all of their pals over at their houses in Toontown.
is Toontown Depot, official train station for Mickey's Toontown, the cartoon home where Mickey, Minnie, and all their friends live. Toontown Depot is also the gateway to Fantasyland, where you'll find many of your favorite Disney animated characters and stories. If you're leaving us here, please wait until the train comes to a full stop.
We are pulling into Toontown Depot. Please wait for the units for freedom meeting for a complete stop on the station. It also looks like we are now seated for Mickey and the Magical Mascot, so says right up until we're talking about 5 minutes. If you'd like to watch Mickey and the Magical Mascot, it's right outside our exit gate here at Fantasyland Theater.
Fantasyland. You can see people stepping onto It's a Small World just below us. And, off in the distance, majestic Matterhorn Mountain. Astro Blasters. And, look overhead, maybe a glimpse of a Mark 7 monorail. This is the latest version of the first daily operating monorail system in the entire Western Hemisphere.
Railroad. Please remain seated, giving all hands arms, feet length inside the train. Parents, make sure to supervise the children. Keep
We hope you enjoyed your travels with us and that you'll come back to ride with us again real soon. For those of you staying with us, we'll be on our way again in just a few minutes. This is Main Street Station, Main Street, USA.
California Missouri Backpacker Ski District. And always safety is from training to complete stop at the station. If you have a stroller or wheelchair, please listen up. This station is only stairs, there are no ramps and no elevators here, so please keep it folded and free of the little ones until you reach the bottom of the staircase. Keep it all hands, arms, feet, legs inside the train. Parents, make sure to supervise small children. Keep them away from any train opening. Our next table stop is going to be New Orleans Square.
Pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
Our first stop is New Orleans Square Station. But to get there, we need to pass through the wilds of Adventureland. It may seem peaceful through here, but trust me, it's a real jungle out there. Literally. So be on the lookout. You just never know what might be lurking along the rails. Just ahead of New Orleans Square Station. This station also serves Frontierland and Critter Country.
As always, please stay fully seated so the train has made a full and complete stop inside the station, and you see one of the conductors step off the train and onto the platform. Thank you. Welcome to the Bayou.